We'll begin our practice this morning with some props nearby: strap, block, small bolster, or rolled blanket. We'll use the rolled blanket and block or the small bolster right away for a heart opening beginning. So with the rolled blanket or the small bolster, going a long way on the mat behind you, roll yourself down onto the support. If the blanket is not long enough to support your head as well, that's where the block can come in handy. Put the block under your head. And we want the hips to be down on the mat. And you might need to make a couple adjustments to get comfortable. An option to keep the soles of the feet planted on the mat or extend your legs. Let your arms rest at your sides. Close your eyes. And take some deep breaths. As you breathe deeply, feel your body soften. Let everything relax. Notice any thoughts that you brought with you. And over the next couple of breaths, let them go. Instead, I'll give you a thought for our practice today. May any challenges that you face today lead to greater strength and resilience, reminding you of your inner power. Take a deep breath in. Send it out. Begin to awaken your hands and your feet. Reach your arms back. Open up through your chest, your belly, your shoulders. Lower your arms back down. And roll to your side, coming off of the support. You can slide the support out. And then roll onto your back without the support. Hug your right knee in towards your chest and extend your left leg. Just take a couple breaths in stillness. Relax your shoulders. And start to bring your right leg over to the right just a bit. Maybe switching to a one-handed grip just with your right hand. Back to center. Release your right foot down to the mat. Pull your left knee in towards your chest and extend your right leg. Pull your left leg in a little closer. And open the left leg out to the left just a bit. Again, maybe switching to a one-handed grip. Back to center. Release your left foot down to the mat. Bend your right knee. Plant your right foot on the mat. Get ready for bridge with arms down at your sides. Stack your knees over your ankles, root down through your feet, your shoulders, your upper arms, and lift your hips up. Open up through the quadriceps, open up through the hip flexors. Use the strength of your glutes. And strong rooting of the feet to lift another inch. Lower your hips back down. Open the knees out to the sides, soles of the feet come together to touch, or at least face one another. Place your hands on your inner thighs. That works for you. And just find some gentle pressure. Not actively pressing down. Willing the muscles to relax. Now hands to the outsides of the thighs, bring knees up to center. We'll hug both knees in towards the chest, one and then the other. And send your feet up to the sky. Straighten out your legs. Point and flex the toes a few times or draw some circles with the toes before finding stillness. Bend your knees, lower your feet down to the mat, and roll to your side. Press yourself up to a seated position. Extend your legs out in front of you. Get ready for some twists. We'll start by twisting to the right, left hand to the outside of your right leg, right hand behind you. Back to center and the other direction. Back to center. Take a breath in. Fold forward as you breathe out. Back up. Bend your knees. And once again, we'll bring the soles of the feet together to touch, knees open. This time, use the elbows to work the legs open a little bit more. Let your hands stay fairly relaxed. They might be holding on to the feet, but let's not make it a really tight grip. Just a nice loose grip. Your legs where they are, we'll add a twist once again. Twist to the right. Keep working the legs open. Back to center. And twist to the left. Back to center. And a forward fold. In your forward fold, you might choose to press your legs down with your elbows, or you may prefer walking your hands out to the front. Come back to an upright position, bring your knees up to center, plant your feet on the mat, and find some cow and cat stretches. At your own pace, finding the depth that works for you. Back to a neutral spine, pause for a moment before transitioning to table. Once in your table, step your right foot to the back edge of the mat, and press down through the ball of the foot, press your heel back, find the opening through the back line of your right leg. Shift weight forward slightly, get light in the right toes, and lift your right leg up hip height. Send your right leg over to the right and set the sole of your foot down on the ground. Look to the left, send your left arm out to the left, and lift your left fingers up to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, thread the needle. Bring your left arm down. Slide the back of your left hand across all the way over towards your right foot. Lower yourself down. Come back up. Send your left arm out and up. Big breath in. As you breathe out, bring your hand back down to the mat. Engage your abs, your glutes, and your right leg. Bring the right leg up and back to center. Bend your knee, press your heel up to the sky. Option to stay here or left arm behind, scoop up your foot and kick your foot into your hand. Release back to table. Couple of cow and cat stretches here in your table. And back to a neutral spine. We'll step the left foot to the back edge of the mat, press down through the ball of the foot, work your heel back. So you shift the weight back as you press the heel back. Shift the weight forward slightly, get light in the toes, lift your leg up hip high. And then left leg over to the left, bring the sole of the foot down to the ground. Look to the right, send your right arm out to the right and up to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, thread the needle. Bring your right arm down. Slide the back of your hand across the mat over towards your left foot. Down to rest. Come back up. Press down through your left hand. Rise. Send your right arm out and up. Inhale. Exhale. Bring your hand down to the mat. Strong glutes, core, and left leg. Bring your left leg back to center. Bend your knee. The heel presses up towards the sky. And either stay there or bring your right arm back. Scoop up your foot with your hand and kick. Release back to table. Again, a couple of cow and cat stretches. Next time you come into your cat, stay there and start to send your hips back towards your heels. Keep your hands planted. And lift back up and move into cow. And back to cat. And send your hips back towards your heels. Come back up. Cow. Cat. And all the way back to child's pose this time. Once you come into your child's pose, see if you can reach your fingers forward a couple more inches. Creep the fingertips forward just a couple more inches. They might come towards the outer edges of the mat, creating a little more space. Rise and come to your kneeling plank. Walk your hands forward. Find your kneeling plank. Lower down to your belly. Press down through the tops of your feet. Lift to baby cobra, chin and chest up off the mat. Open your chest. Bring your shoulder blades down your back. Keep your hands very light. Lower back down. And press up to kneeling plank and come back to child's pose. One full breath in your child's pose. And up to downward facing dog. Move around in your down dog. Come forward to your high plank once again. Shift forward slightly, set your knees down on the mat, kneeling plank, lower down to your belly. Lift to baby cobra and lift higher. Press down through your hands, peel your belly and thighs up off the mat. Create space in your neck. Relax your face. Now engage your glutes and your core. Pull back to child's pose. And rise to downward facing dog. Walk your feet to your hands, forward fold near the top of the mat. And roll up to standing with a nice bend in your knees. If you prefer a flat back rise, that works too, supporting yourself with palms up thighs. Once you reach the top, feet about hip width distance apart if they're not there already. Send your arms forward. Then inhale, open your arms out, lift your chest, soften your knees. Exhale, bring your arms out in front. Sit back in your chair. Inhale up, open. Exhale, back to the chair, arms forward. Inhale up. Exhale, chair. Couple more. Next time you come into your chair, stay there. Plant your left forearm on your thighs. Bring your right arm around behind. Palm of the right hand supports the low back. Actively press your forearm down into your thighs, keeping your knees hip width distance apart. Not letting them come together. We want the knees right over the ankles. Stay low as you return to center. Stretch your arms out in front. Inhale. Exhale, airplane arms. Reach back. Then bring the arms out in front once again. This time, right forearm comes down to the thighs. Left hand around behind. Plant the palm of your left hand on your low back. Look down at your knees. Make sure the knees are in alignment. That means your hips are in alignment. We don't want one knee sneaking forward and the other pulling back. Actively press your arm down into your thighs. You're creating space and energy. Stay low in the hips as you come back to center. Reach your arms out in front. Waking up the legs and the glutes, right? Build strength and resilience. Inhale. Exhale, airplane arms. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, airplane arms. Keep going. Inhale, forward. Exhale, airplane arms. Inhale, forward. Exhale, airplane arms. One more time. Inhale, forward. Exhale, airplane arms. Keep your airplane arms. Can you open your chest a little more? Can you send your hips back and down another inch? Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, down through center, forward fold, let it go. You might take a halfway lift and then move back into your forward fold, releasing even more. Let the crown of your head reach down to the mat. Feel the opening through the back of your neck. Keep a little bend in your knees. And breathe. Now plant your hands on the mat and step back to a high plank pose. Lift to downward facing dog and return to your high plank. Hold your high plank, press the mat away with your hands. Pull your navel up towards your spine, engage your glutes, engage your legs. Waking everything up. Know that you can always lift to down dog. You need a little break. Coming back to your plank when you're ready. Three more long, slow, deep breaths. And up to downward facing dog. Keep your left foot planted, lift your right leg up and back. Bend your knee, open your hip. Think about stacking your right hip on top of your left, keeping even pressure in each hand. Then back to center to our three-legged dog, pressing up through the right heel, leveling out the hips, and back to downward facing dog. Now lift your left leg up and back, bend your knee and open your hip. Even out the pressure in your hands. You might press your right heel down towards the mat. And back to center, three-legged dog. Level out your hips. Press your left heel up and back. And back to downward facing dog. High plank pose. Shift forward slightly. Set your knees down on the mat. Lower down to your belly. Lift your chin and chest. Press down through your hands, your belly and thighs. This time, you could also press down through the tops of the feet. Lift your knees if you'd like. Your knees are lifted, lower them back down. We'll pull back to child's pose. Take 2 breaths in your child's pose. Up to downward facing dog. Walk your feet to your hands, forward fold at the top of the mat. And roll up to standing. Again, or flat back rise with palms to the thighs. Reach your arms forward. And inhale, open, lift your chest. Exhale, chair, arms out in front. 2 more like that. Inhale, open. Exhale, chair. Inhale, open. Exhale, chair, stay in your chair. Left forearm comes to the thighs, right hand around behind. Twist a little deeper this time. Then back to center, arms out in front. Inhale. Exhale, airplane arms. Bring your arms forward once again. And then right forearm down to the thighs, left arm around behind. Press the palm of your hand into your low back, find the support. Press your forearm into your thighs for the energy. Shift more weight back into the heels. Then return to center, arms out in front. Inhale. Exhale, airplane arms. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, airplane arms. And keep going. Make sure the knees are more over the ankles than going towards the toes. Next time your arms reach back, stay there. Send your hips back and down another inch. Last few breaths. Then inhale, reach forward. Exhale, down through center, forward. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold forward and relax in your forward fold with a bend in your knees. Now plant your palms on the mat. Step back to your high plank pose. Lift to downward facing dog. Come forward to your high plank and hold. Option here to bring your right knee towards your right elbow. Step back, left knee to the left elbow, and step back and continue. Otherwise, just finding stillness in your plank, knowing that lifting to downward facing dog can be a nice little release when you need it. Strength and resilience. Last two breaths. And up to downward facing dog. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, set your knees down, lower all the way down to your belly. Find your lift. Couple of breaths. Meet in child's pose. And up to downward facing dog. In your downward facing dog, lift your right leg up to the sky. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, draw your knee towards your nose and step through for a low lunge. Stay in your lunge. Get really light in your fingers. Down through your right foot, lift up through your left heel. Take a look back at your left toes. Make sure they're pointing straight ahead, not out to the side. And then we'll bring the gaze forward slightly. We're still really light in the fingers. In fact, we get so light in the fingers that we float the fingers off the mat. Start to bring your arms back, airplane arms. And a slow rise of the belly off of the thigh. We're coming up part way, finding a straight line from the top of the head down through the left heel. Open your chest. Reach the fingers back. Pull the belly in. And then rise to crescent. Arms out in front and then up to the sky. Nice bend in the right knee. Lift through the back of the left leg. Open to your twist to the right. Open arm twist, right fingers reach back, left fingers reach forward. Make sure your glutes stay engaged. Come back up to center. Reach your arms up to the sky. Inhale. And exhale, hands come down to the mat. Straighten your right leg, fold over your straight right leg, lift your right toes, press your left heel down. Return to the lunge. Plant your hands firmly. Lift your right leg up and back. Bend your knee, open your hip. Equal pressure in each hand. Back to downward facing dog. You either stay there or come forward to your high plank pose. Shift forward to the tips of the toes. Stay on your toes, lower to low plank, and hold for 5, 4. Up dog in 3, 2, and 1. Upward facing dog. And downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, step through for your low lunge. Make sure your knee is over your ankle. Look back at your right toes. Make sure they're pointing straight ahead with your heel lifted. Start to get lighter in your fingers. Fire up all the muscles in the lower body. Gaze shifts forward just off the top edge of the mat. And get so light in the fingers that they float off the mat. Then airplane arms, feel the beautiful opening of the chest. And come up just enough that you have a straight line from the top of the head down through the right heel. Coming up off of the left thigh, but not in an upright position. Wake up the triceps, lift your arms another inch. You might even bring the pinkies in towards one another another inch. Strong lower body. Make your way to crescent lunge. Draw your arms forward and up. Relax your face, relax your shoulders. Send energy up through the tips of the fingers. Find ease within the challenge. Open arm twist to the left. Breathe. Feel your strength. And come back to center. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat. Straighten your left leg, fold over your straight left leg. Lift your left toes, press your right heel down. Turn to the lunge. Plant your hands firmly. Lift your left leg up and back. Bend your knee. Open your hip. Back to downward facing dog. You can either stay there or listen. Come forward to your high plank pose. Shift forward slightly, lower to low plank. Come back up to high. Lower to low plank. Come back up to high. Lower to low plank. Come back up to high. 3 more. Meet in our high plank pose and then lift to downward facing dog. Then come forward and find your flow. Spending as much time as you need in your upward facing dog. Before we meet in downward facing dog. This time from our downward facing dog, we'll step the feet forward outside the hands, coming into a yoga squat. The block is helpful here. If you want to come down, have a seat on the block, at whatever height is appropriate. Heels in, toes out. Hands together at heart center. If that's available to you, you can always keep the fingers down. Feel the lift of the chest. Adjust the height of the block as needed. And maybe you remove the block altogether. Feet wide enough that the heels are rooted. Use your elbows to open your legs, just like we talked about in our seated position at the beginning of the practice. Relax your shoulders. Shoulder blades slide down the back. Take several more breaths here, allowing the body to adjust. Be here for just a couple more breaths, transitioning to a forward fold. I have sensitive knees, so I rely a lot on my arms coming out of this to protect the knees. The block can be helpful for that as well. If you're not sitting on the block right now, you can place the hands on the block, shift weight forward slightly, and start to lift the hips up. Again, I rely a lot on my arms to protect the knees. Come into your forward fold with feet about hip-width distance apart. Toes pointing straight ahead, soft bend in the knees. An option here to move into crow if that is in your practice today. You can hang out in your forward fold or find something else that feels good, but if you'd like to move into crow or at least prep for crow, plant your hands about shoulder width distance apart, fingers spread nice and wide. Lift your heels. Start to bend your knees and bend your elbows so that the knees can come to rest on the backs of the upper arms. Gaze off the top edge of the mat. Look back at your toes. You don't need to look back at your toes. Start to shift the weight forward into the tips of the toes, and maybe you stay right there. If you'd like, you could lift one set of toes off the mat. Try that out. Set them back down. Lift the other set of toes off the mat. If you are doing that, notice which side you start with, and then change it up and start with the opposite side. You might find that when you're lifting one side at a time, if you start with the opposite side, the other foot just naturally pops up and you're all of a sudden in your crow pose with both feet floating off the mat. Take 5 breaths, whether you're holding your crow or playing with shifting. And then we'll come back down to our yogi squat, which means that we'll bring the feet a little bit wider. Notice if the yogi squat feels different this time. Close your eyes. Lift through the crown of your head. Allow your tailbone to draw down. Our transition this time is going to be to downward facing dog. You may have in your practice to shift forward and float back to your low plank. It's not where I'm going today. Make your way to your downward facing dog. Perhaps it is through a forward fold and stepping back. From your downward facing dog, look to your hands. Walk your feet all the way through. Come down to have a seat on the mat and find your strap. Sending the legs straight out in front of you. Bring the strap over your right shoulder. And then a couple of options here. We'll keep the left leg straight. We'll put a bend in the right knee. You can either bring the outer edge of your foot or your ankle to your thigh, or you can tighten the cross so that your right knee is more over the left knee, bringing the outer edge of your right foot to come down to rest on the ground. If you'd like to move even deeper, left leg doesn't need to stay straight. You can put a bend in the left knee, pulling your left heel in towards your seat. Just make sure that you can let your hips stay level rather than rocking up on one side or the other. Once you've arranged your lower body, send your right arm out and up, bend your elbow, and bring your hand down to the strap. Left arm stretches out to the left, palm faces back. Then bend your elbow and bring the back of your left hand to rest against your low back. You could just stay here in a half bind or find the strap with your left hand. When you would do this, whether you're taking the half bind or holding on to the strap, notice what's going on in the upper body. If you're really curling inward to make this happen, then back off a bit so that you can be in more of an upright position and that your chin and your chest have some space between them. Stay right here in this upright position, or you can begin to hinge forward at your hips, folding forward any amount. As with so many other things we do, we have lots of options to find the position that feels best to you today. Challenge yourself, but listen to your body. If your right elbow is dropping down, draw it back. You've chosen to fold forward, make your way back up. Release the arms first, and pause. Then unravel your legs. Meet up with legs extended out long in front once again. We'll shift from side to side, center, and a forward fold with both legs extended. Arms out in front, or maybe arms back, fingertips resting on the mat. Come back up. We'll get ready to take all of that on the other side. Right leg stays where it is. Put a bend in your left knee. Bring the outer edge of your left foot onto your right thigh. Maybe stay there. You could even use the block under the left leg, or tighten the cross so it's more knee over knee, the outer edge of the foot resting. Option to bend your other knee, bring your other foot in so that both sets of toes are pointing out to the sides. So you've arranged your lower body. Left arm out and up, put a bend in your elbow. Maybe you've shifted the strap to the other side. Maybe not, it doesn't really matter. Reach it either way, right? And find the connection to the strap. Lift your left elbow up. Then right arm reaches out. Open the palm to the back of your space and then bend your elbow and either stay with the half bind or hold on to the strap. Work your hands closer together on the strap. Maybe your hands come together to touch. And again, you can stay here or begin to fold forward, but whatever you choose, think about creating space between your chin and your chest. Think about drawing the left shoulder back rather than curling it inward. And whatever you have chosen, remember to breathe. Back up if you folded forward. Release your arms first. Set the strap aside. Pause. Unravel your legs. Legs extended out front. Fold forward. Back to an upright position. And twist to the right. Back to center. Twist to the left. Back to center. One more forward fold. 3 breaths. Back up. Get the support ready if you would like to take a heart opening Shavasana. Support will be behind you. I'd encourage you to, before you roll back onto your support, if you're choosing that, bend your knees, plant your feet, plant your hands, and find a reverse table, just getting a nice opening through the quadriceps and the hip flexors. Root down through your hands and feet, lift your hips up. Keep even pressure through each foot. Lower yourself back down. And then make your way to your final relaxation. If that heart opening position is not one that's comfortable for you, find something else. And if there's any last movement that you need before you settle into stillness, then do that. Move and breathe. You find the position that feels best to you to let everything go. With a smile on your face, appreciating the hard work from your body this morning. Appreciating your inner power. If you have chosen the heart open, allow your shoulder blades to wrap around the support, melting into the support to create an even deeper opening through your chest. Let your breath flow freely. Give your mind permission to remain right here. For just a little bit longer. Thank yourself for coming to your mat today. Empty your lungs and take a deep breath in through your nose. Send it out through your mouth. And begin your reawakening. Wake up your fingers, you wake up your toes, and continue moving through your body, awakening areas in your way and your time.
The arms stretching overhead might feel good. Eventually, you'll bend your knees and roll to your side and pause on your side. Before pressing yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Your hands rest wherever they feel best, thighs, knees, or thumbs together at heart center. Eyes closed, heart open. We'll take our thought for practice, bring that into the rest of the day. May the challenges you face today lead to greater strength and resilience, reminding you of your inner power. Deep breath in, deeper breath out. Thank you for sharing your practice today. Have a beautiful, beautiful Monday. Namaste.